the task that we want to automate is things like, okay, I want to send an email to suppliers, send an RFQ. I have to write the RFQ. I'm spending half a day writing an RFQ. Why do you need to spend half a day to write the RFQ? Some AI can do it in within seconds. It can send it for you. When the response comes, it responds on your behalf. Finding the factories. Why do I need to surf through Alibaba and Made in China and Global Sources and India Mart and Trade India and look through hundreds of advertisers, send individually emails from them? No, AI can look through all of that, sift through all of that, compare it with customs data, compare it with shipping data, tell you these are the 4 or 5 based on your requirements as suitable, and send out communications to them and coordinate with them on all the other things. Calculate what is the shipping cost going to be. Calculate what's the duty. You don't need Excel sheets. You don't need to do all these things one by one on email. Everything can be dashboarded. So that's what I call as mundane tasks being replaced with AI or taken over by AI. Mundane tasks are tasks that don't add value to that human being who's doing it.
Welcome to Entrepreneurism. I'm your host, Scott Pollock, a seasoned business leader, entrepreneur, and CEO coach with a passion for helping others achieve success in their entrepreneurial journeys. On this show, we dive deep into the world of entrepreneurship, uncovering why so many struggle and revealing what the most successful do differently. True entrepreneurs have unique superpowers, including the ability to spot hidden business opportunities and convert them into thriving ventures. For most mere mortals, this ability is absolutely unfathomable. But these same strengths can become sources of struggle, whether it's pursuing multiple opportunities without losing focus, scaling without eroding culture, or balancing short-term demands with long-term vision. The entrepreneur's journey is full of tensions. Here we explore critical factors that drive entrepreneurial success: how to stay focused, manage resources, build strong teams, and develop the resilience to navigate the ups and downs of the journey. Bold ideas, candid conversations, and insights that will help you unlock your full potential. Ready to learn and grow, expand your toolkit, and discover actionable strategies to help you navigate your own entrepreneurism? Let's dive in. Very excited to welcome on the podcast Minesh Pore, a serial entrepreneur turning the AI boom into real-world businesses. Welcome, Minesh.
Thank you, Scott. It's a pleasure to be on your podcast, and I've been listening to them. All of them have been an inspiration. And knowing you for so many years, you've always been an inspiration to us, all entrepreneurs.
Thank you so much. So Minesh is reinventing how the world sources products with AI. He's the co-founder and CEO of BuyHive, a network of on-demand sourcing pros. These are the Bs on the ground in key markets who deliver customized, impartial, end-to-end sourcing for buyers worldwide. He's also the founder and CEO of SourcingGPT.ai, an AI-native platform that turns messy manual sourcing workflows into smart, automated agents. After more than 2 decades in global sourcing, Minesh has shifted from doing the work to rebuilding the work with AI, and he's literally written the book on it. He recently published Everyone is a Builder Now: How Non-Technical People Can Automate Workflows and Build with AI. In this conversation, we're going to dig into how Minesh uses AI as leverage to launch and scale businesses, combining human experts, data, and vertical AI agents to create unfair advantage. Minesh, perhaps you can start by briefly telling us about how you started your entrepreneurial journey.
Scott, it's very interesting. I am a very new entrepreneur as compared to a lot of people. I've been an entrepreneur now for about 5.5 years, and I was a corporate guy in multiple different companies over the years. But I was always told, people told me, hey, why don't you start something of your own? You're so entrepreneurial. I really never understood that. I graduated in chemical field as an undergrad, went on to do a master's in business and never worked in the chemical industry of where I did my undergrad in. took on the risk of working with Yellow Pages, selling advertisements to every single individual business possible. If you remember those, we used to
Mhm.
call them weights. They were paper weights, basically. So that's when I started. But that kind of started my entrepreneurial journey, because you would have to face every individual business, whether it is the plumber next door or a hardware store, or it was electrician. Everybody's your target audience, and you're going to go talk to any one of them, and you have to listen to all kinds of problems for $50 advertisement or something of that sort. So it was a different world that I started it. But that's, I think that's where my entrepreneurial journey started. And then, of course, I got an opportunity to work in India, US, Taiwan, China, Europe, and so on and so forth. So over the years, it's only become, or even you're thrown into environments that are not your comfort zone, you become more entrepreneurial, I think. So yeah, I think that's where it comes from.
Makes sense. I mean, learning to sell in those early days, that's a critical one. Certainly, one of the common patterns is that entrepreneurs know how
Yeah,
to sell. They have to. They've got to sell their ideas. They've got to push when people are telling them this will never work. So, yeah,
yeah,
that is definitely a
which
good
is
start. And
every day.
every day, exactly. Every day, the barriers are coming up, and also your global experience that certainly helps. That's another, I think,
Yeah.
success factor for a lot of entrepreneurs is being exposed beyond their local markets.
I know what you're doing with your child, and I know for my child also, I want her to be exposed to the world. And the reason for that is that exposure for me, going, traveling the world, working in different places, going out of your comfort zone, getting in troubles in different places, that opens you up and then your entrepreneurial mindset way more than anything else I have experienced. No, nothing, there's no money that can buy that. And I strongly believe that has shaped my entrepreneurial journey. At seeing the problems across the world and what kind of problems happen, how people deal with it, how people solve it in different parts of the world. All of that kind of makes your mind and work in many different ways. And I think you and I are doing the same for our children.
So, talk about then with that background, how did you start your own businesses, and what were those sort of initial experiences and challenges that you had to overcome?
So uh, I try to be as honest as possible here without stepping on any toes, but we sold our previous company to Blackstone. The company was around for since 1970s, and eventually in 2017 we sold to Blackstone. I stayed in the company thinking there would be opportunities for building new things, new resources, and so on and so forth. There was an owner of the company, and everything was happening as per him. And when we thought there's a PE coming with unlimited resources like Blackstone, that will change the path. But then we realized very quickly that after a PE came in, the play was managing balance sheets, not managing or launching new products. That started becoming old, and being clueless as I was, I finished my corporate career on the 31st of December 2019, thinking I'm going to launch BuyHive. And BuyHive was a product that I would have launched inside that company, where I was thinking, okay, now it's not going to be allowed. So I want to build a network of sourcing experts that actually help people do sourcing, because the models of advertising allow you to be in only places where you have advertisers from. We wanted to give it to people that are not advertisers, and you give real information, give real on the ground expertise to people that want it. And that's how BuyHive came about, and we built it to about 3,000 sourcing experts in 20 odd countries now. So that's kind of where we started. I joined hands with my co-founder Brent, who was the CEO of Global Sources, my previous company, and we both had the same feeling about the PE world, that okay, we don't fit into this. We need to build our own, and we need to solve problems of the industry. That's actually the moment we realized. And of course, then we were hit with COVID. The problem just exploded. Supply chains were shut down, or factories were shut down. Supply chains completely broke. The buyers were desperate, and we somehow survived that whole mess without. We didn't see a single customer. Right? This was early 2020s when we were just starting. we met no customers. We met nobody in one-on-one. Everything was through Zoom calls and video calls and stuff. Not even our team members we met. And that's how the business started. So yeah, it was kind of being thrown at the eh, deep end with water boiling on the one side.
Yeah, all of us can relate. COVID definitely created all kinds of challenges. I mean, it was a black swan. That's the best way to put it. But talk about, you came out the other end, and I believe certainly that what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. So
Makes you
talk
stronger.
about how that worked for you and for BuyHive.
So when we started BuyHive, right, we had this whole plan that okay, let's go very, very naively as new entrepreneurs. We thought, okay, let's build this. People are going to be excited about it. We'll be raising some money and growing it very quickly. Blah blah blah. Of course, money was short. COVID killed everybody, all the VCs and angels and everybody else. The way businesses happened was not the same. There was a complete change in the whole mindset of people as well. So we had to adapt. We had to not be scared of the situation, but focus on certain things. And my focus, as the founding CEO and with the team that I had, I say to the team, let's just focus on revenues. Let's just try to get customers, make revenues, forget everything else.
Hmm.
I know how to sell. You guys can support me in this direction. Let's just sell. And that's how we got off the ground. Forget about raising money. We raise money from the sales margins. And then we got up some of our first few clients that did tons of projects because they wanted to get supplies and they were short of supplies because their supply chains were broken. So it was kind of the right time to do it. And that's how BuyHive came into being, and BuyHive started making money in about 8 months. We had already broken even,
So cash flows were able to finance the business, and you were able to bootstrap it. I mean, that's
and it's
certainly
still bootstrapped. BuyHive
that.
is still bootstrapped, making money.
Okay. That's certainly a better way, I think, where, for the types of businesses where you can do that. And it sounds like, this was not a capital intensive business. That's a better way to go. You didn't have to sell equity.
You have to sacrifice growth, and because the growth will come in smaller bouts. Like we
Hmm.
we grow on an average 15-20% a year, but we're not going to multiply without growth capital, which is
Hmm.
okay for us.
And what's your thinking on that now that you've got product market fit and you've got a company that is, as you said, growing nicely, but it's not hitting the hockey stick yet. What's your thinking on perhaps raising money, or where do you go from here?
Yeah. So very honestly speaking, I don't. I don't want it to grow like crazy and get in a lot of investors, put pressure on me. And that industry has it's a very traditional industry. Now I have a network of sourcing experts in a lot of countries. I need to do something else that builds on what I have done and build into a new company. And that's why we started Sourcing GPT. Actually, Sourcing GPT came from the fact that we are collecting all these data from all these sourcing experts around the world. How do we use the new technologies that are available, i.e., AI? How do we use that to actually take what we have built into the next era of sorts? So that's how Sourcing GPT was born. Instead of humans doing hundreds of repetitive hours of supplier discovery, RFQs, comparisons, calculating duties, calculating shipping, thinking of testings, thinking of quality compliance, etc., we can build the tool, we can train a tool with our expertise and with all the expertise of these 3,000 plus experts to do the task for people in much lesser time. So per SKU, we can save them as much as 250 man hours. And that's how Sourcing GPT came about. And that has that hockey stick possibility. It's a SaaS model. It can keep on growing. There's no limits to how much it can grow to.
Terrific. Of course, I think the main theme that we want to get into for today is how does AI change the game, and how are you leveraging it? And also, we can talk a little bit about some of the secrets that you share in the book that you just released recently and how that applies to
Thank you.
other entrepreneurs and what they can get from it. Talk a little bit about
Mm,
that. Talk a little bit
Yeah.
about, where that started.
The book, actually, what happened was I was speaking at multiple conferences and events, and I was listening to a lot of speakers at different events and stuff, right? And I was always on some AI panel. And I realized from the questions that people ask or the topics that were discussed, there's a lot of misinformation. People who are not used to adapting to technology very fast. There's a first movers that are great. They will take on everything. People like you and me might be, okay, let's experiment. Doesn't matter how it is. But then there's a big portion of the population that is scared. They are easy. They want their comfort zone. They don't want to change too much. They feel that all these things are going to take away their jobs and this is unnecessary. Uh, AI is evil or there's a devil inside and stuff like that. They're like strange kind of things that people think about. And so when I was doing all these talks and writing my notes, and I was literally writing in notes on my iPhone, right? So I'd gathered like hundreds and hundreds of questions and hundreds of answers to them, and I thought through that. And that gave me the inspiration to write that, okay, there's so many people who don't understand the use of AI and how AI, to me, the way I see AI is to make your life more efficient. Make, in simple words put, how can I use a tool that will save me time, the time that I can do something else which is more productive. It doesn't
Mhm.
have to be work related. It can be spending time with the family. It can be playing paddle or tennis or whatever, right? Whatever you do, it gives you that bandwidth to do other stuff. And that's how I see
Mhm.
of AI as a tool. And I wanted that message to go from my book. And that's what I have compiled in the book of real life examples of how you can automate certain things to actually help yourself be more efficient and effective in your day to day life.
Interesting. I think it's exactly what a lot of people are trying to get their heads around, and the book I'm sure will be helpful with that. I think specifically a lot of founders are asking, where do I start with AI? Those who are not native to it already, and how do you decide which problems in a business are worth attacking first with AI, and perhaps which ones do you deliberately leave alone? Any advice there?
So I like to simplify it in this way. You have to be honest to yourself as a business person, as a business leader, as a founder, and tell yourself what are the tasks or what are the SOPs that I do in my company or tasks that I do myself, which I think don't add value to me, which
Mhm.
I have to do it because I have to compile these things. I have to make these Excel sheets, keep records, keep in my notes or keep in my whatever archives because I will look back at it and I need it to be done. But it doesn't really add value because I may not even look at those archives ever in my life. So these I call as mundane tasks of your day to
Mhm.
day life. How do we take away those mundane tasks that don't add value to me or my team, but I still have to do? Can I use tools based on AI, whether it's an AI agent or an AI tool that will actually help me do. If you can answer that to yourself honestly, you will get the right answer. I'll give you, Scott. I mean, I've been talking to corporates, right? Big corporates. And I think McKinsey just recently did a kind of a report and published a white paper on this. 80 to 85% of the corporates that have done investments in AI have done wrong investments or failed in them. And the reason is simple because they said, somebody in the leadership said, hey, everybody's doing AI, let's do AI.
Mhm.
Let's get Ernst and Young or KPMG or McKinsey or whoever to tell us how to incorporate AI. A consultant comes in, they see from a big blue sky approach and say, oh, this might make sense for your business. But the real stuff is at the ground level. Ask the people at the ground level what they feel frustrated about.
Mhm.
Like, like for example, Amazon, right? Amazon has done a lot of its warehouses and the removing of goods, labeling of goods. All of that is pretty much done by AI robotics things. And this is humanoid or robots. But it's a very good example because these are tasks that would take a lot of time for people and it's not really adding any value to anybody, but it has to be done. It has to
Mhm.
be labeled. It has to be moved from one place to another. It needs to be put in. These to me are the tasks that don't add value to that human being that is doing it. And
Mhm.
it doesn't add value to the company. That can be automated. In my case, in sourcing GPT, right? The task that we want to automate is things like, okay, I want to send an email to suppliers, send an RFQ. I have to write the RFQ. I'm spending half a day writing an RFQ. Why do you need to spend half a day to write the RFQ? Some AI can do it in within seconds. It can send it for you. When the response comes, it responds on your behalf. Finding the factories. Why do I need to surf through Alibaba and Made in China and Global Sources and India Mart and Trade India and look through hundreds of advertisers, send individually emails of them? No, AI can look through all of that, sift through all of that, compare it with customs data, compare it with shipping data, tell you these are the 4, 5 based on your requirements as suitable, and send out communications to them and coordinate with them on all the other things. Calculate what is the shipping cost going to be. Calculate what's the duty. You don't need Excel sheets. You don't need to do all these things one by one on email. Everything can be dashboarded. So that's what I call as mundane tasks being replaced with AI or taken over by AI. Mundane tasks are tasks that don't add value to that human being who's doing it
Yeah.
or the
Yeah, and
organization.
those are real examples from sourcing GPT and from that space. Talk about the need to have a human in the loop still. Where does that come into play?
That, so you, you need to monitor, right? That's why I said we're not replacing, we are improving efficiency. There's a difference. We are not talking about replacing the human being. We are talking about improving efficiency of the human being. And the book
Hmm.
also talks about, all it talks about is efficiency. So there's a big difference. When you say replacing the human being means it can all be automated.
Mm, mm,
But for example, in sourcing, I'm doing suits. I found a suit supplier. Everything is, the AI is writing for me. AI is helping me do the communications. But Sourcing GPT gives you that option to edit it, to check it, to verify it, put a tick mark and send it out. Just because there might be something that you, let's say the buttons, your suit is brown and your buttons are red as per whatever it's done. But for your aesthetics or with going with your brand, the AI may or may not understand your brand as well, but
sure.
yours, whatever your color scheme is different. And that is something that is only in your mind. So you want green buttons. So you
Mm,
have to go in and change that. You have your own tech pack. AI doesn't have your tech pack. AI can make the tech pack for you if you want, but you have your tech pack. You have designers working on it, and you want to put your own tech pack, your own things there. So you need that human element to kind of in between step in and say, "Hey, I want to change this." And then, oh, now I'm not shipping to the warehouse. Something changed in my warehouse. My warehouse address in my profile is in Philadelphia, but now my warehouse has been changed to LA. So I need to move everything there. So the logistics changes and so on and so forth. So there's a lot of things that change in day-to-day business, and you want that human element there. And again, the fact is we're improving efficiency, we're not replacing humans.
mm. There you go. So, in improving the individual's effectiveness, it's still important to have that context and that judgment of the human in the loop. So I think that makes a lot of sense. And what you've talked about so far is more about individual productivity. How does this apply when you think more about, let's say, the team or the organization and the effectiveness there?
Yeah. So from a corporate, let's say it's somebody that's a big company, when the human beings that are working for you, the individuals that are working for you are more efficient, them together are making the company also more efficient
Sure.
because it all adds up, right? It's not just that individual that is. And then when they have more time, so let's say take an example of a small medium sized brand that is selling on Amazon or Shopify or whatever platforms. When they improve their efficiency of sourcing and they spend less time on that, that resource can be towards creating content, creating advertisements, creating product designs or new products on the shelf, adding in new type of mindset to that team, and it generally gives that organization more efficiency overall. So there's multiple things that can happen from giving those people or taking away those mundane tasks from them. And every organization is different. For example, in Amazon's case, right, it of course helps them improve their bottom line and top line in many ways, but then it also helps them launch new products or think of using that resources to get into new lines of businesses that they get into. So there's different ways of looking at it, and every leader should understand how to utilize those resources that get free. I am not of the school which thinks that, okay, because I improved efficiency, instead of 5 people, now I'll get 2 people and I will empty 3 spaces. I think of it like 3 places that are empty. How can I use them for something else?
Hmm. Yeah, I think I agree with you there that we shouldn't be thinking about how to shrink our workforce as much as we should be thinking about how to make our workforce that much more productive and to be able to do that much more. So faster, better, with greater
Exactly.
effectiveness and efficiency. Okay, I want to take a quick turn to do some quick fire entrepreneurial hack type questions that I do with all of my guests.
Yeah.
What's one book every entrepreneur should read?
One book that really inspired me in my early days is The Hard Thing About Hard Things by Ben Horowitz from, I mean, he's a well-known VC, right? I mean, he tells you the truth about entrepreneurship. It's he doesn't give you motivational quotes. He talks about how it's solving impossible problems every day. You wake up every morning in a chaos and you have to solve it. And the book can kind of normalizes the chaos that an entrepreneur's life is about. And I love that. I mean, because, people have all these visions of being an entrepreneur, no boss, freedom, blah, blah, blah. But if you are going serious about being an entrepreneur, you should read this book and be prepared for what you're jumping into.
Yeah,
Don't go in there without knowing how chaotic, how stressful, how much of problem solving it involves being an entrepreneur every which day, every single day.
yeah, it takes a lot of grit, and I'm always telling those who are aspiring entrepreneurs that you better look forward to enjoying the journey. If you're just in it for the destination, good luck.
Yeah, not going to happen.
Yeah. What's one thing you do every morning to set yourself up for success?
So, and this is the last 3 4 years, I'm not very excited about doing a lot of tasks, not because of AI, but I just don't like trying to do too many things which don't add value. That's always been my mindset. So I always tried to simplify, whether it was in school, whether it was in college, and now I always find shortcuts. What can I do to simplify what I have to do today?
Hmm.
What can I do, whether it is in terms of delegation, whether it's in terms of doing it myself? How can I improve the process? How can I make the task more fast, do it faster? How can I make that decision quickly? So on and so forth. So it's like everything that I do is always thinking every morning I wake up, how can I simplify today?
Okay, that's a good habit. What's a tool or app you can't live without?
These days, I've been addicted to multiple AI tools that I use, and two of them, which I pretty much cannot live without nowadays, is ChatGPT and Manus. So, for simple tasks and simple, not non-deep research stuff, ChatGPT is my kind of alter ego. It helps me a lot, and then Manus now, which also has it's built something on top of your browser, and you can allow it to automate the tasks that you do, whether it is surfing through a site, whether it is shopping, whether it is doing anything. As far as you give rights to Manus on your browser, it will do
Wow,
it, and that is a game changer for me.
I got to try that one. I'm familiar with Manus, but I haven't seen the automating of tasks in the browser. That sounds pretty
Yeah,
powerful. What daily
it's pretty
habit?
cool.
What daily habit keeps you grounded?
These days it's talking to my 6-year-old daughter. Every day she comes back from school with what she has done and how how and what she did, who she talked to, what they talked to, what did the teacher say, etc., etc., or what happened in the playground. It's kids have a way of simplifying it, life. It's not very complicated. They kind of tell you very simple things, but it actually tells you what really matters in a day to day. And it actually makes me like, oh, I mean, all my problems, I don't have to think about my problems. I don't have to think about what is going on in BuyHive or SourcingGPT or business or my payroll and stuff. It's just simple. Okay, I played with this person. This happened. I showed her my La Boo Boo, and what did he say about my La Boo Boo? And that's where the life changes.
Absolutely. Well, I can relate to that too. My daughter's a few years older, but I really appreciate every time that I can connect with her. It does help keep me grounded.
Yeah,
And what's the best piece of business advice you've ever received?
fail fast. Somebody told me very early on. It's like you, you will always be pivoting. You'll always be changing the business model. Whatever you're doing, if you know something is failing, do it fast. You have to learn. Failing to me is learning. you, you have to learn faster than your competition. The mindset makes you do rapid iteration, rapid learning, rapid improvement. If you are not honest to yourself, you don't know when you are failing and when something is not working and you're not ready to change that.
Hmm.
You cannot get addicted, or a lot of people get very, because we are founders, right? So we are passionate about this business idea or whatever projects we are working on. But to introspect and say, no, this is not working, let's change, is very important. If you don't, it's going to cost much more than cutting the losses early on.
Hmm. And any examples that you can give of how you've been failing fast in your ventures?
I mean, when we started BuyHive, we went through maybe about 10 different platforms, 10 different developments, all kinds of things. And then to realize that in the world of COVID, it was simple. There was no social media. There was no nothing there was too much noise around. All you have to do is to pick up the phone and call these people and say, hey, you want this? I can help you. Right? No technology, no nothing. It's just using our network and connections, picking up the phone, writing emails to people in your network saying, I can help this. Can you do? No technology. I mean, I am a full believer in, like I just explained to you, I want efficiency. But you have to also understand that in that kind of environment, no efficiency, nothing automation, nothing was going to work. It was people to people.
Well, then there's your sales superpower, which I'm sure
Yeah.
was critical. That
Yes,
said,
it's important.
yeah, and that said, we talked quite a bit here about how AI is making new levels of achievement accessible. And I wonder in the category of advice for those who are looking to start businesses or maybe interested in starting a business. If you were starting a new business now, from zero as a founder in 2025, or giving advice to those who are like that, with no legacy systems and no team, how would you design the company to be AI native from day one? What kind of advice can you give to someone who would be interested in that?
Yeah. So, the good thing is I am a non-technical founder. As you know, I have never worked in technology, but I know how to hire those people. But nowadays, I, using Manus or Lovable or any of these, can easily create apps and platforms and websites and stuff. And everything is basically somewhere in an app, somewhere in a website. So that tools are already available to you. The ideation, the bouncing of ideas. You don't need co-founders in many ways, right? Because these tools like Manus, ChatGPT, Gemini, Grok, whatever you're comfortable with. I'm not like one is better than other. That's not a discussion. But whichever you are comfortable with, whatever you feel comfortable with, how do you use those tools to shorten the process of ideation, shorten the process of go to market with least amount of build. So build your MVP with any of these tools. People say a lot of things. Oh, vibe coding works, vibe coding doesn't work, vibe coding is uh, risky, blah blah blah. To me, I think if vibe coding can give you the first set of customers, because customers don't care, customers want a solution that works for them.
Mhm.
So if you can build a tool that works for your customers, launch it, make mistakes, fail. Don't worry about building big teams. Don't worry about too much resources. Just get and build it. But the one thing I tell is to a lot of people is that get hold of the problem. Really understand the problem. You need to understand what the problem is if you're building a solution today. If you're not building building towards the problem, no matter what you build is not going to be selling. So you have to think from that angle. And the other thing is that for entrepreneurs these days, just like you, everybody has those tools available. So your superpower or your strength is going to be understanding your customers and solving the problems of your customers the fastest. If you're not doing that, no matter what you do, you're going to fail.
I like that. I like that. And certainly that resonates, that AI can help you fail faster and can help you build that MVP
Yes.
faster than ever before with less resources. But if you're not solving the right problems, it's not going to matter. So,
Yeah. And AI can't tell you what is the problem. There you have to understand what is the problem. The problem is of the human beings. You're
mhm,
using AI to solve the problems of the human beings. So when you're solving the problem, you need to talk to human beings. So for us, for example, we've been building Sourcing GPT now for 16 months, and I interviewed about 500 individuals that signed up organically, one-on-one, to try to understand their problems and how and what features, what functions, where are the challenges, etc., etc. Not talking about my product, but talking about their problems.
perfect. That's a great place to end. And I think that that's such a solid piece of advice. Minesh, really appreciate you joining the show today. Thank you.
Thank you, Scott. I love this conversation with you.
And to my listeners, we've
Thank you.
got many more amazing guests lined up. Please subscribe, leave feedback, and share this episode in your feeds. Until next time. Thanks for listening. Remember, entrepreneurship isn't just about spotting opportunities. It's about taking disciplined action to bring them to life. Hope you'll join again next time as we continue to unpack the complexities of entrepreneurism.